Hall of Fame inductions are awarded posthumously, honoring the life and legacy of musicians who have dedicated their musical careers to celebrating and preserving Ukrainian culture and heritage through music. To commemorate their legacies, they are inducted into the Hall of Fame Museum, thereby immortalizing their impact on Ukrainian music and bestowing a lasting tribute for generations to follow. Today, we honor two musicians who were at the heart of Ukrainian Canadian music during their time. Just like their contemporaries who preceded them, their memory, their music, and their vast body of musical influence will live on. That is the gift that they have left for all of us. Our first inductee this afternoon is the late Jerry Robak. It gives me great pleasure to tell Jerry's story written by his wife, Gloria. Gerald Jerry John Robak was born on July 11, 1947 and resided in Gilbert Plains, Manitoba. In 1975, he married Gloria Frickus and they farmed in the RM of Grandview, Manitoba. Jerry also worked in many trades, but one of his greatest joys was his passion for Ukrainian music and performing as a musician on the drums with his bandmates for 50 years. Jerry was commonly called Jinx, a nickname he acquired in his early school years, and it was used by many of the musicians he played with and by many of the people at the occasions that he played at. This name stuck with him until his passing. At the age of 16 years, Jerry spent a lot of his time with his two best friends, also cousins to him, Mervyn Roback and Leonard Mancher. Mervyn was talented in playing the accordion and guitar, and Leonard played bass guitar, accordion, and violin. Jerry then decided he would buy a set of drums and play along with them, and together they started a band. Jerry purchased his first set of drums at Dauphin Musical Supplies for $150, and soon the practices commenced. Peter Chubby from Grandview was their violinist at the time. They frequently got together and practiced many Ukrainian tunes. After a few days of constant drilling, and because he had an ear for music, Jerry was well on his way to start performing at local dances, Manitoba Farmers Union dance events, stag and showers, and anniversaries, and anywhere else they were asked to play. They formed their orchestra and were called the Drifting Kings. The time frame was the early 1960s. Soon their bookings for events commenced. They played in Gilbert Plains, Grandview, Roblin, Mink Creek, Ethelbert, Venlaw, Dauphin, Keld, Asheville, Sifton, and many other areas. After some time, Peter Chubby left the band and Bill Kumka from the Keld area took over as violinist. Stag and showers, weddings, anniversaries, dances in general were constant. At this time, Jerry drove a 1960 Strato Chief safari wagon, and almost every weekend the drums would be loaded and the band was on the road again. At many weddings in the neighborhood, the orchestra had to arrive early to the bride's home and play for the traditional Vichanya ceremony, where the braided plant myrtle was placed on the bride's head before her veil. Needless to say, the orchestra commenced their day of music from noon on the wedding day until 2 a.m. after midnight. Besides playing with his own band, Jerry was asked to play with many other musicians, traveling to Winnipeg, Ituna, Gorlitz, Melville, and Durban, Manitoba. They were always so appreciated for their music, they often went home with a case of whiskey from the wedding families. They also played in local parades and especially enjoyed playing in the Canada's National Ukrainian Festival parades for many years. There were a few years that summer the heat was 30 degrees Celsius for these parades, and this was at 10 a.m. when it commenced, but it didn't stop any band from playing. As the years went by, the Drifting Kings had some changes. Jerry and Mervyn then joined French Terrebuk and Edward Rubicki, and they became known as the Parklanders 4. The 1970s and going forward for many years, the Parklanders 4 were very busy with bookings. Jerry noticed a for sale ad in the Dauphin Herald for a set of drums, as his were really looking beat. You get it? They were looking beat. So he purchased the newer set for $400 and retired his old set. It was during this time, in 1975, Jerry and Gloria were married. And although they wanted to go away for a honeymoon, they went as far as Winnipeg because Jerry had to be home by the next weekend to play at another wedding. The socials and weddings were constant every weekend into the fall season. The children of the baby boomers were getting married, and a lot of the baby boomers' parents were celebrating their 25th anniversaries. Dances and prosniks were also on the go. The Parklanders 4 were booked for many New Year's dances. This usually involved minus 38 to minus 40 degree weather. It didn't stop Jerry and the guys from playing. They dressed in skidoo suits to get there, sometimes left their vehicles running during the dances, making sure they were warm enough for the instruments. Jerry also enjoyed when we took our two sons, Jared and Jason, with us to many functions that he was playing at. The boys were proud of their dad and took an interest in music in their later school years playing drums. The orchestra was played at weddings and anniversaries in Winnipeg, St. Claude, Manitoba, Kenora, Ontario, and a few communities in Saskatchewan. One place in particular was Durban, Manitoba, close to the Saskatchewan border. Weddings there were huge. Playing for presentation usually took 3 hours of constant playing until the whole crowd greeted and presented their gift to the bride and groom, along with the bridal party and the parents greeting the people. Jerry always came home elated after playing at any function, and it wasn't uncommon if someone was celebrating a special birthday or anniversary in their yard. The instruments came along and the music was enjoyed by everyone. Jerry and his father-in-law John Frickus had the honor of playing at the Mink Creek Holy Trinity Parish's 100th anniversary celebration with local musicians Sam Hutzel and family. Alvin Pentlichuk, violinist, also played with them on occasion along with John Tomaszewski. They also played at a few Century Farm celebrations in the region. Although the Parklanders 4 never professionally recorded their music, a CD of some of their tunes was recorded and has often been played at family events. Throughout his 50 years as drummer, Jerry played with many musicians: Peter Chubby, Mervyn Roback, Leonard Mancher, Bill Kumka, Sid Pakailo, Walter Pakailo, Fred Cheterabuk, Edward Bickey, Leo Kozar, his father-in-law John Frickus, Bill Frickus, Marvin Procession, Betty Showchuk, Steve and Harvey Mick, Peter, Bill and Jerry Musey, Cliff Hadaway, Patty Andreychuk, Wes Burnett, Stan Sidnick, Alvin Pentlichuk, John Tomaszewski, Bill Coos, and many others. In 2014, Jerry underwent open heart surgery, which afterwards led to dementia. He sadly passed away on November 23, 2024, at the age of 77 years. Jerry would have been very happy and honored to be inducted into the Ukrainian Musicians Hall of Fame. Music was his passion, along with bringing entertainment and joy to the many people he had the pleasure of playing for. And we, as his family and friends, are also so very honored and thrilled that Gerald Jerry Robak is inducted into the Ukrainian Musicians Hall of Fame. At this time, we invite the Roback family to come forward as we induct Jerry with the Honourable Mention Hall of Fame recognition into the Ukrainian Musicians Hall of Fame. Jerry Robak, a local drummer that entertained for many functions near and far for over 50 years. Vichnaya Pamyat.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is quite the honor to have Jerry inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame. I thank the UMA people who nominated him, and he achieved this this honor. His other big achievement was when he married me, and that probably was a more difficult road, but but we almost made 50 years just last July. So, anyways, it was a wonderful life, and I really enjoyed when he played. We were very proud of him, and we went along lots with him, and partly because he probably needed a driver too. Anyways, yeah, when I first started going out with Jerry, my dad would look out the window and he says, "Oh, toy Robak to the snow," and I said, "Well, you better get used to it, Dad." So, anyways, again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and celebrating with us. This is truly an honor, and we're very privileged to have Jerry's legacy here at the Rhodes Hall, along with my dad, John Frickus. He's here also, so it's very honorable. Thank you very much.